All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Modern Warrior Podcast. This is Diego. My name is Carter. If you don't know by now, this is our third podcast, right?
Yes.
And is the first one of 2024.
The one for the brand new year.
Yep. Welcome to 2024, brother. How was your New Year's? How was your Christmas? I haven't seen you in a little while, so
That was
we can
good.
catch up a little bit.
Christmas, we just stayed here. So me and my girlfriend just took like 4 naps because we had both been working.
naps.
We were like, we've been working a lot, so we hadn't really seen each other or like had relaxation time. So we just made food, ate, went to the gym, took a bunch of naps, and like that was it.
I love it.
Yeah, so that was really good.
Just reboost.
And then New Year's, we went back home, saw both of our families. So that was it was easy, Hadn't seen my family. Actually, I saw them for Thanksgiving. For me, it felt like a minute. Seeing my nieces is just something I always love.
Right.
Being able to be around them again.
Yep.
And to see them get more comfortable with my girlfriend, it means the world.
That's all, because they're growing up too. So I feel like you only see them probably a couple times a year, and each time you see them, they're a little bit older.
Right.
Like that's such a pivotal age where it's like same thing here. I see my family on my mom's side once a year, Christmas time, and like my nephews on one of my uncle's sides, dude. Each time I go, they're like up 3 inches. They're like into something totally new.
Right,
it's kind of cool. Like each time I see them, it's like, this is a new person I'm meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
And now like one of them is in high school, like getting into freshman year in high school.
Oh, that's awesome.
And bro, just the slang and like the little things, like they're saying like Riz and dude.
Keeping you young.
Keeping me young, bro. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I remember when we were in high school, just like we had our own little language, dude.
Right.
And we thought little things were cool, and you're just kind of figuring yourself out at that age. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, my the one, she's 3, she's into Spider-Man now. And it makes me the happiest thing ever because me and my brother have been like Marvel, DC nerds since we were kids. And so like for her, she likes on Disney Plus, there's a Spidey and Friends. And so that's all we watched. And I was in heaven like asking her like, who's that? And she's like, oh, that's Iron Man. And she knows like she knows all their names and everything. So I was like, I was so proud. It was
proud
funny
moment.
though. Yeah.
Proud moment there. Dude, I love it, bro. That's awesome. You ready for this new year?
Let's do this. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it, bro.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about last week, just to recap, we talked about building your brand online, your personal brand, through digital spaces in general. Today we want to talk about the marketing that no one wants to do, right? The in-person, building your network, meeting people, shaking hands, the whole 9 yards,
Absolutely.
right? And the reason why I say no one wants to do it is just because I think we've all gotten so used to it on social media, that like that is good, and that's the most probably time effective. Is just like meeting people on social media and stuff like that. But there is something about going into a place, meeting a stranger, shaking them shaking their hand, looking them in the eye, and introducing yourself and becoming friends, like just organically, just like this. It's a lost art that no one really wants to do, but it's powerful. It's very powerful.
Yeah, no, when you say it, I was just thinking about it. I was like, it's with the times, even when people, it's funny, like I have younger guys who have worked in the store or they come in and even like they're talking about hitting on a girl, but they do everything through text message.
Like Snapchat.
Right. Yeah.
Ugh.
But they can't even talk to them in person.
Yep.
So the person-to-person relationships, starting it person-to-person is a lost art.
Yeah.
Being able to, but those people who are capable and willing to do that, those are the people who go the farthest because
100%.
They can walk into a building confidently, stick their hand out, shake a hand, get a name.
Yep.
And that's what just most people really aren't willing to do. And it is that easy.
Right.
It's crazy to see that especially with like the younger guys coming in, they would rather do everything through social media, which is great. That's where we're in. Social media spaces are everything. But at some point, you got to be able to talk to people in person,
100%. Yeah. Why do you think it's so hard for younger people growing up now to meet people, hold conversations, walk into a place as a complete stranger, stick their chest out a little bit, have some confidence? Why do you think it's harder now than it was?
I think we just allowed social media and online stuff to take over everything. I don't know about you, but like I got a cell phone like in middle school, and it was only because my dad went on travel for work and I needed to text my mom or call my mom to pick me up from school or basketball practice, right? If I didn't have that going on in that specific time, I probably wouldn't have gotten a phone until like high school, but now kids have tablets and cell phones by the time they're like 5 or 6.
Young.
So they're just used to being head in the phone. And then that means social media starts sooner.
Yep.
You know, I started on Instagram when I was 17 because it just came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and we were posting like pictures of like a water bottle with
right.
like a cool font over it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're just hanging with your buds.
Right. And so now it's just like that's kind of taken over the whole space. And even if you think of like during COVID, no one had person-to-person relations.
Yeah.
So you were literally having to do everything online.
Yep.
School was online dates, like that was it.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of those guys, or not guys, people were just in that developmental stage, middle school, high school, when that was going on. So imagine like your most developmental years, you're behind a screen.
Yep.
So it's like I think that's kind of why it's going that way. And then now getting out of it, people are still scared to talk to people for some reason. It's just because they got used to being in their bubble for a year that they're now afraid to go out and talk to people, which is something that needs to change.
Yeah. And dude, the thing is, it's not even their fault.
Right.
Like it's not your fault. If you're listening to this podcast and you're 16, 17, 18 growing up, dude, it is not your fault that you're not good at talking to people in person.
Right.
The way the world is right now, like the cards are stacked against you, bro. Mm-hmm. Like you're actually not supposed to be good at talking to people right now.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if anything, like give yourself some grace, right?
Yeah.
First of all, but like know that this is absolutely fucking necessary. If you want to be good at anything, you need to learn how to talk to people.
Right.
You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to have some confidence about yourself, right? Like you could have this great profile on Instagram, but you go to meet an opportunity pops up and you have to meet a business owner or, you know, a sponsorship deal or something like that. If you can't like talk to them and present yourself in a good way,
right,
dude, it doesn't matter. You're going to get passed up on so many opportunities if you can't learn this skill.
Right.
So first of all, not your fault, but no, absolutely fucking necessary if you want to be good at anything.
Yeah.
Or make money or be successful with anything.
Yeah.
So,
it's one of those things where it's like, it's not your fault where you're at now, but because of what you are hearing, it's your fault in a year if you're still that bad.
Right. Right.
You know, like once something gets presented to you that you're bad at it, from that point on, it's your fault if you stay bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Success is your responsibility at the end of the day. And no one's going to come to save you or teach these skills, dude. Exactly. You have to learn it. Right. And I would say if you can get into some kind of retail job where you're talking to people 24/7,
right,
like just get reps, right? What's the easiest way to get reps at talking to people?
Yeah.
Find a job where you spend 90% of your week talking to people.
Yeah.
Right? It just makes sense. Or, you know, film yourself talking on social media, whatever it is. That alone is better than, you're not going to get the human to human element, but you can see yourself and like, how do my eyes light up when I say this? Like, do I look a little awkward when I say this? Is my tone good? Like, you can really get a lot of reps before you even go out into the real world per se. Just getting good at talking to yourself on camera, which I think we touched on a little bit last week. But yeah, I mean, like basically, we just want to get the point across that, dude, your network is your net worth at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many times have you met someone or like had an opportunity arise just because you met someone 3-4 years ago?
Literally, James. So the Peak Nutrition stores, I met, so 2020, I was out here getting ready for a bodybuilding show. I stumbled into one of the Peak Nutrition stores because me and James have been following each other online. And I was like, oh, that crazy guy, let me go check out his stores. I've been out here for a couple weeks. Go in, I meet Tristan, person-to-person interaction. I was like, this is probably one of the coolest people I'd ever met. Little did I know, I actually just learned that Tristan had just started at Peak, and he had been there for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
You know, so like that was perfect timing there. If I had come into the store when I first came to Phoenix, I wouldn't have seen him.
Right.
Right. So the time I came in is exactly when he had just started.
Yep.
Fast forward like a year and a half, I'm in Albuquerque and I'm leaving the gym, and there's this guy with the man bun, tattoos, sitting on a bench, and I'm like, that looks like that guy that I follow. And so I just yelled out to him. I was like, oh, is that the Viking? And he like looks up and he's like, what the fuck? And then he like sees me and he goes, bro, I literally just liked your picture on Instagram. And he shows me, and he's literally looking at me from a picture I just posted like 20 minutes ago. And we just started a conversation from there. And I told him I was moving out to Phoenix. I was going to be doing solar. And he's like, well, if you don't like that or it doesn't work out, let me know. It went way over my head that he was like, I want you to come work with us.
You.
Yeah. And then, but from that point on, he gave me his phone number. He was like, my company, we do these family dinners and stuff. I would love for you to come to some of them. We have an event coming up in March for the Winter Warrior. He's like, we had all these things that like were going to be happening. So I just wanted to be a part of it, right? Mm-hmm. And I get out here, and after about 2 months, I had gone into the Scottsdale store. I met Sarah. Mm-hmm. That was just another funny story. I was in Scottsdale working a territory. I needed protein or something, and I looked up Peak because the only one I knew about was one in Tempe. So I was going to drive to Tempe. Well, I didn't realize there was one in Scottsdale, so my maps takes me to the one there. I walk in, it's a different store than the one I was used to. This little blonde girl comes up to me, starts asking me questions. I'm talking to her, and I was like, I didn't know you guys had another store. And she goes, yeah, this is our Scottsdale location. Well, I had just moved here. I thought Scottsdale was Flagstaff. I'm living in Mesa, and I thought I was 2 hours north, and I just went into straight panic. I was like, I'm in Scottsdale? And Sarah's like, yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, you're about 20 minutes from home.
Yeah, and I was like,
crazy.
And I was like, well, how far is that from Mesa? And she was like 20 minutes. And I was like, wait. And she like pulls up her phone, shows me on the map where I'm actually at. And I was like, oh, okay. But then we just started carrying conversation again. And even she was asking me like what I was doing for work and all this stuff. And because of the relationship I built with Tristan in person, the relationship I built with James in person, with Sarah in person, when Tristan told me to apply, everyone I had to interview with already knew me and was like, yes, this guy's a yes. I want him. And that was just because I carried conversations with them.
Yeah.
You know, it really can be that simple. Like, I'm in a position now where I love what I do. And that's because I saw a guy on a bench that I might know, and I started a conversation with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's literally it.
Right.
You know,
you were open to opportunities.
Exactly.
And you had skills. Obviously, you're doing solar, so you know how to talk to people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're able to present yourself in a way to these people where they were like, I want this guy to come work for me.
Right.
You know? At the end of the day, it's like you just have to be ready for when the time comes.
Yeah.
So you have to practice.
Right.
You have to start now. Right. And I think, dude, that's a big point because, I mean, in general, I think you have to be able to give first, right? That's like the next thing that I want to go into is reciprocity. At the end of the day, it's a universal law. There's no way around it. It is giving more than you are receiving.
Okay.
Right? And givers gain, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you always have to give out of the goodness of your heart, right? It shouldn't be to manipulate someone or like get something in return. Or I'm trying to think of like a situation where you could like
to get something back.
Yeah, where it's like, dude, yeah, I'll help you move your stuff into your apartment, whatever it is. But as long as you can, you know, help me tomorrow with this.
Right.
It's like, oh well. That's not, I didn't really feel the same like give because you had this motive that you just wanted something out of me later.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
and it's not as special anymore. So like you really do just have to give and give and give and keep giving at the end of the day.
Right.
We had a customer named Colin. He runs a nonprofit for veterans and they play hockey. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the Arizona Warrior Foundation. He would come into the store and he would just not only give his money, right, because he would shop with us, but like he would just give and help out. Like this poster fell down, or this big banner fell down. Last Winter Warrior?
Right.
It wasn't up for a whole year.
Yeah.
This man on his free time, he works 2 jobs, came in and was just like helping us wire this thing back up and like get it back up because he just is a good person and likes to give out of the goodness of his heart. Right. So like if that man ever needed anything, you bet your ass I'm going to be the first one to help him out or at least put him in contact with someone that could help him or something like that. Because that's just the human spirit,
right?
You know, like I feel the need to give back to you after you've given me so much,
right?
Which, I mean, we've talked about a little bit. What's the 51-49 rule that we use constantly?
Yeah, in the stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people can sense your motives, right? Because if you just keep giving, but then you give with that intention, like you were saying, because you need something back in return, even you are going to help half-heartedly. Right? Because you're already expecting something back in return. But when you can just give and give over and over without any expectation of receiving, I talked about like my friendships before, and that's how every single one of those friendships works.
Yeah.
You know, all of us just give and give and give. I could give everything I have to those 5 guys and not expect anything back, and I would be okay. But then they all 5 of them function the same way. So it's like we're still all pouring into each other's cups. No one's empty, right? Ever. No one's ever empty on any level.
Yep.
Because we all want each other to succeed, and you have to be willing to give, though.
Right.
Right. Now, the people who don't and they just want to receive, eventually
you're extracting value from people.
Yeah, when you're just extracting, you're going to run into a dead end.
Yep.
It's great that you're getting stuff. That's awesome. But it's going to be short-lived, and you're going to end up back at square one where you started, and you're going to have to start doing things this way at some point.
It's not a fluke or a mistake that the most successful 1% people in the world have given the most away.
Right.
Right. It's just because they know the law. It's a universal law, right? You give, you give, you give, and you will receive in abundance throughout the timeline. Maybe it's not right away, but 10 years down the road, when you help this guy do this, dude, maybe he helps you with this next thing because he knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that can help you, right?
One of the best examples I can actually just think of is Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
With his YouTube videos, he will make, let's call it 10 million from a video, but then he will give that money away and then use what's left to make the next video to raise more money to give away. And he just keeps doing that over and over and over. So he's making millions, if not billions of dollars off of these videos, but he's not stacking it up and buying all these crazy things for himself. I mean, the dude's always in like a regular t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah.
He's wearing like $50 at max all the time.
Richest man in the room.
Yeah. But you would never notice because he's just giving it all away. But so he makes this content and keeps putting stuff out to make more money to give it away.
Right.
You know, and for me, like, that was actually probably one of the first times I really thought about this reciprocity rule. I was like, wow, this guy really does just give and give and give. And then he gets to do what he likes, which is create content. He makes money off of it, but then just gives the money right back away, you know, because he loves
a strategy that'll never end.
Yeah.
You know, it's a never ending game right there.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah,
and that fits into obviously, so like networking, building your brand, stuff like that. It's all about just meeting people at the end of the day. So like whatever industry you're in, obviously we're in the supplement space. So like we work at the Peak Nutrition stores around here, local supplement store. We like to meet the trainers in the area. So we have people to refer people to if they're looking for a CrossFit class. I'm going to know Jenny over at Magna or whatever it is. Like I know a guy that can help you out with this thing, right? At the end of the day. But I kind of want to break it down for people. Let's say, because most people aren't in a retail supplement store.
Right.
How could we apply this rule for them? So it's like one of the main things, I just want to take a couple little points away, is like when you go into a place, right? Whatever it is. Let's say you're an entrepreneur, you go into an event, right? An entrepreneur meeting event, and these are complete strangers, right?
Yeah.
What are some things that person can do when they walk up to that person, complete strangers? What's a good way to break the ice with someone just to become on the same level to start?
The easiest thing I think that I will use is just giving a compliment.
Yep.
Because the first thing you can do, if you compliment someone on what they're doing, if you know what their businesses are, if they're an entrepreneur or even just their clothes. I like your shoes. I'm a shoe person, so that's like the first thing my eyes gravitate towards on anybody. And you can compliment someone's shoes, and it's never weird. Like, you can go up to a female and you could compliment her shoes. Yeah. And she's not going to be like, oh, what's
He's hitting on me.
He's hitting on me. Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, thank you. And then you can start the conversation from there, right?
Yeah.
But the compliment is going to be the easiest way in. And that's going to be for anything. If you give a person a compliment, like that's going to be the easiest way to start any sort of conversation.
Yep.
And that compliment itself actually goes a very long way. Just thinking about it, you're getting someone excited about something that they have or do. Yeah. And they probably haven't heard something like that all day or maybe a few days.
Or in years.
Yeah, exactly. You can compliment someone. I've done it for someone's shirt, and they ended up, there was a whole backstory behind it.
They wore that thing on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you compliment it, it's like, it was his dad's, he would wear it under his camis in the military. And so he like went into this whole story. Yeah, and I was just like, Wow, like that.
You would never
So
would have known.
you know he was wanting to tell someone this, but no
Yeah.
one's gonna just like randomly go up and say something.
Right.
But you give that person a compliment, and now this guy is probably one of the most reoccurring customers at the Gilbert Peak store.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because of this compliment, and it was in a EOS gym when I gave him the compliment.
Right.
So we didn't even meet in the store. We met in EOS. I complimented his shirt. He tells me about it. We talked for like 30 minutes, and he asked me, well, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, well," I told him what I did. I work over at Peak, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come see you."
Reciprocity.
And yeah, exactly. And now 2 years later,
Guaranteed.
he's in there every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a good point. I mean, so like to break that down a little bit, the compliment's got to be genuine.
Yes,
right.
100%.
It cannot be like you knew with the intent you were going to start your day and compliment someone on their shoes, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you need to just be, first of all, be present.
Yeah.
Right. If you're in the area, if you're at the grocery store, you're at the gym, whatever it is, or you're going to an entrepreneur event, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Be present, be aware, kind of look around and like notice things about people. And the best way to notice these opportunities to give compliments or, best opportunity to just make a connection with someone is be curious about them.
Yeah.
Just like genuinely, we call it customer obsession in the store, but if you're just outside of your workplace, you're just meeting a stranger for the first time, genuinely being curious about that person and asking open-ended questions just to get to know the person. Like, what do you do? What sets you on fire? Like, what's your goal? Like, tell me about yourself. Like, I genuinely just like, I'm so interested. I'm like oozing into them. I'm like getting too close to them almost.
Right.
Like I'm just curious, People love to talk about themselves.
Right.
That is the number one way that you can make a friendship with a stranger. You ask them questions and you really get to know them and they get to tell you all their accolades and what they've been doing. And that's just how we are as humans. We like to talk about ourselves. So like, I'm going to let this person talk until he's done talking.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna be listening the whole time and I'm gonna keep it going and everything like that. And then just what you said, they're gonna reciprocate and ask you a question.
Right.
What do you do? Right?
Yeah.
How can I help you? Right? It's just how the universe works.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like even for in our space, it's like you said, going to the gyms, and the intention is just to figure out how we can help this gym grow. We're a small local business, so if I can go into, we have a really good relationship with Pitt Fitness, and we can go in there and ask Rebecca, hey, what can we do next to help you? Her first response, she'll think of something, but then she always says, well, then what can I do?
100%.
And that's just because she has the right mindset of this reciprocity, right? No one wants to just, good people don't want to just receive. If someone offers you a hand, you're immediately trying to think, well, how can I help you back?
Yeah.
Right? And that is the reason that our store, her gym, have continuously grown and grown and grown, is because we have that kind of relationship with other gyms, and I'm sure she has that kind of relationship with other people, right? So like when they do their events, they have food trucks because they find some way to give back to these people.
Right.
And it's just a revolving circle, and we all get to grow together, right? And so with the reciprocity, it's understanding that everybody can eat. And I think the people who don't understand the reciprocity rules is those who are so selfish and it's only me. Only I can make it to the top. There's only one. It's like, you hold
Scarcity mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you hold everything in for you, and it's like, no, you basically just run out of resources that way.
Right.
But if we all come up together,
Everyone can have a slice of the pie.
Exactly.
Right.
There's so much for everybody.
There's enough pie to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
the more I help you get more pie, the more I will get pie in the long run.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm going to give it back to you.
100%. That's great. So just to sum it up a little bit, obviously going out, giving a compliment to a stranger is a great way to kind of break the ice. Then once you've broken the ice, be genuinely curious about that person. Right. Ask questions, get to know them really well, get them to open up, get them to talk about themselves, because that's, as humans, what we want to do.
Right.
And just give. Keep giving. Keep going back and giving to that person, or supporting them online, or liking their stuff, or whatever they're doing. Like, just give them some compliments throughout years and years and years, and keep those relationships strong, because you never know who that person is that's going to give you that opportunity.
Right.
Or that you can give an opportunity to.
100%.
So I think that's great. I think we probably hit a couple good little gems in there. Anything else you want to add on to that point?
Biggest thing is just don't be afraid to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I can go talk and give stories or give anecdotes on over and over and over of go out, talk to people in person. That will never be a skill that is going to go away.
No.
Because even
it'll actually be more needed than ever in the future.
Because even let's say when people are in Zooms, you're still talking to a person. Mm-hmm. You have to have communication skills. Yeah. Even if you're used to texting people, if your communications verbally are better, you're going to be a better communicator via text message, email, whatever it is, just because you're going to learn how to talk to people the right way.
Yeah. So that's your emotional intelligence will go through the roof.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's going to be the biggest thing I can harp on.
Yeah. And just to end it, to just really get the importance of it across, dude, AI will take over this world in the next 20, 30 years. Let's get into it just a tad. We can make a whole episode on this.
Yeah.
But like one thing that AI will never be able to take from someone is a master communicator.
100%.
Right? This human interaction, what we're doing right here, cannot be replicated through AI.
Correct.
As much as we get deep and deep and deep into it, I'm sure they'll get close. But
it'll never be 100%.
You will secure your position in your job if you have people coming in to see you,
yes,
not buy the product.
Yep.
Right? Because Amazon is already replacing most businesses, right? It's like if you just need a thing, you go to Amazon.
Right.
But you need to be so good at this thing, whatever that skill is, that people are coming in to see you.
Right.
To talk to you specifically because you have an expertise or a way of communicating with them that's like nothing they've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
So like, just to stress the importance of it even more. Dude, if you don't do this, if you don't get good at this fucking skill,
right,
you're done for.
Yeah.
You're done for. And that's how we'll end it.
That's how we end it.
That's how we end it, baby.
All
good start
guys.
to 2024, baby. We got another podcast this next week. I'm excited. Yeah, dude, we're going to keep freaking rocking and rolling.
Yep. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Next week. Peace.